Have you ever woken up in the morning and thought, why do I feel more tired than when I went to bed? Or maybe you've noticed your energy fading faster these days. Like your body just doesn't bounce back the way it used to. You're not alone. A lot of people over 60 experience this exact thing. And often, the first response is to reach for a pill. A little something for sleep, another one for energy, one for blood pressure, maybe something for digestion too. And before you know it, your breakfast comes with a side of tablets. But what if I told you there's another way? Simpler way. One that doesn't involve filling your medicine cabinet to feel better. Living a long, healthy life without relying on medication isn't some far-off dream. It's absolutely possible. And it starts with small, intentional choices that support your body from the inside out. Today, we're going to talk about 5 golden rules that can help you feel better, move better, and maybe even ditch some of those pills for good. With your doctor's guidance, of course. You don't have to change your whole life overnight. But even one habit practiced daily can help you feel years younger. Let's start this journey together. Let me ask you something. What's the very first thing you do in the morning? Do you reach for your glasses? Check the time. Head straight for the coffee pot. Here's the truth. Your day begins long before you pour your first cup of coffee. And what you do in those first few minutes after waking can shape how you feel for the next 12 hours. One of the most powerful habits you can adopt, so simple it might surprise you, is to drink a glass of water as soon as you wake up. Now, I know water isn't as exciting as coffee, but your body has just gone 6, 7, maybe 8 hours without a single drop. That's a long time to be dehydrated, especially as we age. When we're young, our bodies are better at managing water levels, but after 60, that natural ability begins to slow down. The result? You wake up dehydrated, and it shows. Dry mouth, stiff joints, maybe a little dizziness or brain fog. You feel sluggish, and you haven't even gotten out of bed yet. Dennis, an 81-year-old retired carpenter, used to complain that mornings were the worst part of his day. He felt cloudy, stiff, and tired, no matter how much he slept. His doctor suggested something simple. Keep a glass of water on the nightstand, and drink it before he did anything else. That small habit changed everything. Within a few days, Dennis noticed he had more energy, more clarity, and even fewer aches in the morning. You don't need lemon, fancy filters, or any kind of special trick. Just plain room temperature water. Keep it near your bed so you don't forget. It's a tiny act of self-care that pays off in a big way. It wakes up your digestion, kickstarts circulation, and clears out that morning fog before it settles in. Once you've hydrated, the next thing you do is just as important. How you get out of bed. Now I get it. You've got things to do. Maybe the dog needs walking, or there's a pot of coffee calling your name. But jumping straight out of bed, especially after 60, can be risky. Your blood pressure drops when you go from lying down to standing up. And when that happens too fast, your body doesn't have time to catch up. Have you ever stood up too quickly and felt dizzy or lightheaded? That sudden spin, that moment where you have to grab onto something. That's your body saying, slow down. I'm not ready yet. It might sound dramatic, but rushing out of bed is one of the most common causes of morning falls in older adults. And we all know falls are no joke. One fall can change everything. So instead, give yourself a gentle start. When you wake up, take a few moments to stretch. Wiggle your toes. Roll your shoulders. Sit up slowly, plant your feet on the floor, and take a deep breath. Let your body warm up for the day ahead. This isn't about being fragile. It's about being wise. Think of it like warming up a car on a cold morning. You don't just floor it and speed off, right? You let the engine ease into motion. Your body deserves the same kind of care. I once met a woman named Sylvia, 73 years old, a retired teacher. She used to hop out of bed the second her alarm rang. One morning, she felt faint and ended up on the floor with a bruised hip. Nothing was broken, thankfully, but it scared her. Now she takes 2 minutes each morning just to breathe, stretch, and sit before standing up. Since then, no more dizzy spells. And she says her mornings feel more peaceful than ever. These small rituals might seem unnecessary at first, but over time they build a foundation. A gentle, steady rhythm to your day that protects your balance, improves your energy, and gives your body the start it needs. So here we are. You've had your glass of water. You've eased out of bed like the wise soul you are. What comes next can either support your health or silently sabotage it. Let's talk about breakfast, or more specifically, what happens when we skip it or take medications on an empty stomach. You see, a lot of people have gotten used to popping their morning pills with nothing but a sip of water. Maybe it's out of habit, or maybe breakfast feels like too much effort some days. But here's the thing. Your stomach isn't a bottomless pit. It needs something in it before those pills arrive. Taking certain medications, especially blood pressure meds, heart meds, or painkillers, without food can irritate your stomach lining, cause nausea, or even make you feel dizzy or faint. And again, that increases your fall risk. Lorraine, 77, used to feel queasy every morning, but she never connected it to her medications. It wasn't until she nearly fainted one morning while standing at the sink that her doctor asked, "Did you eat anything before you took your pills?" She hadn't. Now, she eats half a banana or a slice of toast before reaching for her meds. And no more faint spells. You don't need a big breakfast. A boiled egg, a small bowl of oatmeal, even a few crackers. Anything to give your body a little cushion so the medications don't hit an empty stomach. And remember, always follow your doctor's instructions. Some pills do need to be taken with food. Others don't. The key is to understand what your body and your medications need to work together, not against each other. So much of aging well isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters and doing it with intention. And so far, we've already begun that journey. It's funny how the smallest things, like a glass of water or a slice of toast, can make such a big difference. These aren't complicated medical treatments or fancy routines. They're simple, natural choices that tell your body, "I'm taking care of you today." And when you make them a habit, day after day, your body responds with more energy, more stability, and fewer reasons to reach for a pill bottle. Now, let's talk about something that sits quietly at the center of your health. You can't see it. You can't hear it. But it affects everything, from your weight to your memory to your blood sugar and even your mood. I'm talking about the food you eat. Food isn't just fuel. It's information. Every bite you take is like a message to your body, telling it what kind of day to prepare for. Will it be a day of inflammation, stiffness, and sluggishness? Or a day of clarity, calm, and steady energy? One of the most powerful things you can do to reduce your dependence on medication is to eat in a way that helps your body heal itself. 'Cause yes, it can. Your body has incredible healing abilities, especially when it's given the right tools. And the most powerful tool of all, real whole food. I remember talking to Tom, a 68-year-old gardener who had been on cholesterol medication for over a decade. He never questioned it. It was just part of his life. But after he retired, he decided to try something new. No crash diets. No extreme plans. Just real food. Vegetables, beans, whole grains, a little fish now and then. He even started growing some of his own produce. Within a few months, his doctor was surprised to see his numbers improve. Eventually, with supervision, they reduced his medication. Not because of magic, but because Tom changed the message his body was receiving every day. Doesn't mean you have to give up everything you love. But it does mean being more mindful. If you eat something packaged, ask yourself, what's actually in this? If you're having something sweet, ask, is this an occasional treat, or has it become part of my routine? There's a kind of power in knowing you have choices. A colorful plate with greens, tomatoes, maybe a bit of olive oil. It's not just lunch. It's protection. It's energy. It's your body's defense system. You don't need to count calories or chase every new trend. Just aim for real food most of the time and let your body do what it was designed to do. And while we're talking about feeding the body, let's not forget about the heart. Not the one that pumps blood, but the one that carries your emotions, your memories, your connection to others. Because here's the truth. Loneliness can be just as harmful as smoking. Yes, really. Studies have shown that people who feel isolated are more likely to experience high blood pressure, weakened immunity, and even cognitive decline. That's why staying connected isn't just good for the soul. It's good for your body too. Think back to the times in your life when you felt truly alive. I bet it wasn't because of perfect blood work or a clean bill of health. It was probably because you were sharing a laugh with a friend, dancing in the living room, Having a conversation that made you feel seen and heard. That feeling. It's medicine. And it doesn't come in a bottle. You don't need a crowd. Even one meaningful connection can bring light to your day. Maybe it's a neighbor who waves from across the fence. Maybe it's a phone call to someone you haven't spoken to in years. Maybe it's joining a small group at your local library or community center. The key is this. Don't wait for others to come to you. Be the one who reaches out. Margaret, 74, told me she used to spend days without seeing another person after her husband passed. First, it felt comfortable. But then she noticed her mood changing. Her energy dropped. She started forgetting things. So she made a plan. Every Wednesday she'd invite someone over for tea. Just one person, 1 hour. That one small step turned into a regular rhythm. And she says she hasn't felt that alive in years. Connection is like sunlight for the heart. It lifts your spirits, sharpens your mind, and gives you a reason to get up in the morning. And when you feel connected, you're far more likely to take care of yourself in other ways too. So if you're thinking, but I'm not a social butterfly, don't worry. You don't have to be. You just have to show up. A smile, a hello, a shared story. Those are the real prescriptions for longevity. And here's something else to remember. Your brain, just like your body, needs exercise. And one of the best ways to keep it sharp. Stay curious. Learn something new. Challenge yourself. That doesn't mean going back to school or solving math equations. It means giving your mind something to chew on. Read a book. Try a crossword. Learn a new recipe. Pick up a paintbrush, a puzzle, or even a musical instrument you've always loved. The brain thrives on novelty and challenge. When we stop learning, we start shrinking, mentally, emotionally, even physically. But when we stay engaged, when we give our minds a reason to stretch, we actually build new connections in the brain. That's right. Even after 70, your brain is still growing, still learning, still adapting. So don't be afraid to try something you've never done before. You might surprise yourself. You might even discover a talent or passion that was just waiting for the right time to bloom. All of this, hydration, gentle mornings, nourishing food, meaningful connection, and staying curious, it works together. It's not about perfection. It's about building a rhythm, a lifestyle that supports who you are and how you want to feel. You don't need to chase youth. You need to honor the body you've earned. And that starts by treating it with respect, care, and a little bit of kindness each day. It's amazing, isn't it? How much power you already have right there in your daily choices. You don't need to wait for a doctor's prescription to start healing. The way you move, the food you eat, the connections you nurture, the way you wake up and wind down. These are your tools. They're simple, they're gentle, and they've stood the test of time. But there's one more piece we haven't touched yet. One that holds everything together like the glue between the bricks of your health. It's something many people overlook because it's not flashy. It doesn't show up in your lab results or your medical records. But without it, even the best habits fall apart. That missing piece. Stress. Or rather, the way you manage it. Now you might be thinking, at my age, what do I have to be stressed about? But stress isn't just about big events or dramatic moments. It's about the small daily tensions that creep in. Worries about money, frustration with your body, loneliness, the news, or even that nagging voice that tells you you're not doing enough. Over time, those little ripples become waves. They affect your sleep, your digestion, your blood pressure. They can trigger inflammation, weaken your immune system, and yes, lead to more medication. But here's the good news. You don't have to eliminate stress. You just have to soften it. Think of stress like a storm passing through your body. If you let it rage unchecked, it knocks everything over. But if you create little shelters, places of calm, even for a few minutes a day, you weather it better. And those shelters, they can be anything that brings you peace. Some people find it in a quiet walk through the garden, hands brushing against lavender and rosemary. Others find it in prayer or meditation, or simply sitting still with a cup of tea and the sound of birdsong. You don't need a fancy app or special cushion. Just time, stillness, a few deep breaths where you remind your body that everything is okay. Take George, for example. At 72, he had high blood pressure, tight shoulders, and constant tension in his chest. His doctor suggested medication, but George asked for a few months to try a different route. He began with just 5 minutes a day, sitting quietly, eyes closed, hands on his knees. First it felt silly, pointless, but after a couple of weeks, he noticed something. He wasn't snapping at people as much. He was sleeping better. His blood pressure, it started to settle. We live in a noisy world, and it only gets louder with age. So, it's up to us to create those quiet pockets of time where our bodies can rest, recover, and restore. And when we do, we're not just reducing stress, we're building resilience. It's also worth saying that stress can show up in the body in other sneaky ways. Muscle aches, stiff joints, headaches, digestive troubles. They're not always just signs of aging. Sometimes they're the body's way of whispering, "I need a break." And if we listen early, we don't need to fix things later. Now you might wonder, what happens if I slip up? What if I have a week where I don't eat well, or I miss my walk, or I just feel down? The answer is simple. Be kind to yourself. Longevity doesn't come from perfection. Comes from consistency. And consistency is built on grace. The grace to start again. The grace to say, "I didn't get it right yesterday, but I can try again today." That mindset, that's what keeps you going long after the pills stop working. Because the truth is, your body is always listening. And more than anything, it responds to how you treat it. Not just physically but emotionally. Be kindly to yourself. Be your own cheerleader. When you look in the mirror, don't just see wrinkles or aches. See strength. See the miles you've walked, the hands you've held, the wisdom you carry. You've made it this far. And you didn't get here by accident. You got here by facing challenges, making tough decisions, and showing up every day for yourself and for others. That same determination. It's what's going to carry you forward, without relying on a medicine cabinet full of prescriptions. So let's pull it all together for a moment. You wake up with intention. You hydrate. You move slowly, eat mindfully, connect with others, stay curious, and create little moments of peace for your heart and mind. These aren't just health tips. They're a way of life. A way of honoring the years you've lived, and preparing for the years still to come. Because here's the thing. Your body may age, but your spirit doesn't have to. You can still feel vibrant. You can still feel sharp. You can still feel alive. You just have to believe that it's possible, and then take the steps, one gentle habit at a time. So, here's your gentle reminder today. You are not powerless. You are not too old to change. You are not too late to feel better. You are strong. You are wise. And you deserve a life that's not just long, but full, rich, and joyful. Now I'd love to hear from you. What's one small habit that's helped you feel better without medication? Maybe it's something you've done for years, or maybe it's something you just started. Share it in the comments below. Your story could inspire someone else who needs that little nudge. And if this video resonated with you, if it made you smile, think, or breathe a little deeper, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel so we can keep walking this path of wellness together. We've got so much more to talk about, because your journey is far from over. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring about your health. And most of all, thank you for believing in your own power to live a long, joyful life. One day, one habit, one kind thought at a time. Here's to living your best life at any age.